guess there's two approaches to comic books right now. I guess one is a comic book that's an audition for a movie. I'm grappling with that concept because I'm just a comic fan. I like comics that are weird. You know, like that's my point is things like Martial Law, Nemesis the Warlock, or weird fun comics you may not have heard, but I love them, and they operate only as comics. I did a comic book called War Angel, and it just really operates in the world of comics. It probably shouldn't be a movie. But I guess I understand that people would want to do comic books that are auditions for movies. But it's kind of cynical. I'm grappling with it. I don't know. It seems like more and more comics look like auditions for movies instead of just being kind of whack, weird, fun comics.
But that also goes back to, like you said, Marvel and DC have cornered the market on superheroes, and everybody's like, oh, they're making all these comic book movies. Yeah, Marvel and DC are making all these comic book movies. They're not gonna, make a movie off of, Captain Twinkie or whatever.
Right.
Because it's just not gonna happen. I won't say it won't happen.
Right.
The chances of it happening are very slim.
Like, okay, this is fun. You guys pick up on this. Being that the world of Hollywood is enamored with the world of comic books right now, so many comic book properties are called for. All of Marvel are optioned or taken care of. All of DC, a lot of the Image guys, the major stuff, a lot of these deals are there, so there really is opportunity. Those guys are hungrier than you could possibly imagine for the next comic idea that works. But the thing to think about in terms of wacky, not wacky is stories typically operate inside of a genre. So your stories, you want to consider having your stories operate inside of them. So maybe like that harkens back to our conversation. I just knew my game was I'm doing horror, bad girls, that's that. Anything outside of that, I learned very early on that I got spanked for. Because I tried my own like adult superhero kind of stuff and we got spanked. So we said, okay, that doesn't work for us. We got to just keep doing this. So I think people consume stuff in entertainment in general inside a given genre, whatever that genre is. And when you mix stuff too much, you go too outside of one or the other, it does mess with them. And the consequence of that is smaller sales usually.
Go ahead. In the first year of putting together an indie company, what would you guys consider a success?
Somebody buying one book.
What would you consider?
If I go to a con and sell, I'm sorry.
That's that big Hollywood deal coming through.
Screw you guys.
That's the call I was waiting for.
What was I saying? No, like I took. I mentioned this in a previous panel when I came out with the first issue. Or the zero issue, just a preview of the whole series. I had stars in my eyes. I was like, this is the greatest comic book ever made. People are going to be bowing at my feet. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Brenner. I'm going to get the best. And I paid entirely too much for it. And I went to Chicago, Wizard World Chicago, in I guess it was 2000 something or other, and I sold 100 books. And I was like, oh my God, it is the best comic ever. and I was freaked out. I was like, that's amazing, but success is going to be more of, how you feel about it. If somebody, success for me now is somebody coming up to me going, yeah, I read your book. It's good stuff. The artwork's good, the writing's good, and I gauge my success more of a reader's reaction, a fan's reaction, than I do, is the amount of books that I sell on a daily basis.
Yeah, especially when you're saying that first year, because you're not going to have much sales that first year. I mean, you'll sell them. It's mostly handout though. You want to get them to reviewers and stuff like that. I think you're right that as far as the measure of success that first year is your reviews and how people feel about the book. That also helps keep you pumped when you're not selling them. Sure. Because there's parts where you will be discouraged and you'll be like, maybe this isn't what I thought it was, or this or that. But you get the good reviews and you get people liking it, they spread the word, then the sales start coming in.
Yeah, sure. That's a trap you can fall into. You start thinking, okay, I'm going to sell X amount of books at this con because this is a big con, it's going to be a big deal for me, and you don't hit that mark, you're going to beat yourself up over it. When there's a lot of factors that go into it. The economy is a factor.
I would add that
position in the con.
In your first year of what would you measure success by, partly, you know, if you can move any books at all, giving away everything, but more to the thing of having your marketing ideas, taking as much information from as many different sources as you can, and having your marketing plan in place, so that when you go and you only sell 3 books, you know, you don't go, oh my God, I'm a failure. Nobody likes this. Well, that's not necessarily true, because, you know, you only sold 3 because you're in a sea of everybody else who wants to do the same thing you do. And the person next to you, though, may have sold 0. Well, you just blew that guy out of the water because you sold 3. He sold nothing, and he lost $100 on his table. You know.
You got to take chances too. I mean, one example of a chance is, for instance, exclusives. You do things like Florida SuperCon, you go to MegaCon, you get the authorization to do an exclusive where you have a certain cover for that convention. Those you have a good chance of selling because people want exclusive. If the writer blows up, if the artist blows up, you have this exclusive copy that, you know, is great. But then again, you get those made, and you know you might not sell them all, and you're stuck with them. And you know you can't get rid of them at that point. So it's about taking a lot of chances in that first year as well, if you want to promote it right.
MegaCon 2000.
Yeah, I think we all got exclusives for.
But that's things like you're saying, exclusives. You contact the con promoter, hey, I'll do an exclusive for your con. They'll put a plug on their site. When I first did my exclusive for MegaCon, people come up and say, yeah, I saw you on the site. And you know, it helps build.
That is the best deal. I can tell you from experience, that's the game. Doing the exclusive and getting the suggestion, the note on the website is worth thousands.
Because, I mean, of course, if everybody does it, it's not good.
Yeah, but they're not going to let everybody do it.
That's true, that's true. So yeah, it gives you that one little step ahead of maybe like the next guy sitting next to you. Like you say you sell 3, you only sell 0. You know? But like I said, just don't get discouraged. Keep going at it. And the one thing I was told when I was at HeroesCon, they said now that you've done HeroesCon, you have to come back next year. So I didn't do that great at HeroesCon. But they said, come back next year, they'll want to find you again.
Right.
We'll find you. If they bought
Establishing your
book,
fan base.
I think that's totally true.
Keep going back to the same shows.
Yeah.
My first year of before I had the actual book done, we made a mini book called Conflicted. It was only an 8-page book. I spent a lot of money getting. I had 500 of them printed up, and they were giveaways at MegaCon. They were MegaCon exclusives. I got the authorization to do that. Handed them out, and he's right. You come back next year just by doing that little thing. I had a lot of people come to the table this year when I had issue 1 ready.
Yeah. That's cool.
That all goes back to what we initially talked about, word of mouth. Just hit the streets, put your personality out there with your book. You know, put yourself out there, and that's the best marketing tool. It's worked for me. I'm sure it's worked for you guys.
Yeah, because I my 0 issue that I printed, I think I got like 1,000 copies of it, and I think we still have like 2 sealed boxes of them.
Wow. You know, one more thing.
And I just give them out now. I'm like, take 10 of them, give them to your friends and family. But a lot of the people come back and they're like, hey, this is pretty good, and then they buy the other ones. You know, just because I can't stand looking at them anymore. Just get it out of here. But it's, you know, like I said, good marketing tool. Give it away. People take free stuff. They'll look at your table and be like, oh, $sign. No, free. Take it. And they're like, oh. And whether, you know, half of them end up in the trash on the way out of the building, or they actually take it home and read it, you know. I don't know, maybe a homeless guy digs them out of the trash, who knows? Somebody
Wins the lottery.